Good night. Good evening, everyone. We are at the Town of East Longmeadow Board of Health meeting. Tonight is Wednesday, November 15th, 2023. The Board of Health is recording. Is anyone else recording? All right, thank you very much. And tonight we are meeting via Zoom webinar pursuant to Governor Baker's March 2020 order rescinding certain provisions of the open meeting law, which was extended by Governor Healy in March 2023. So tonight, the first item on our agenda is approving the minutes of the previous meeting. So did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes, and I motion for approval as written.
All right, I can second that motion. And roll call vote. Christine Johnston, aye. Dr. Katie Jobbins?
Aye.
Rebecca Torsha?
Aye.
Great, thank you. So the minutes are approved as written. Renee, is there anybody here for public comment tonight?
Let's see. No one has indicated they have any public comment.
All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate that, Renee. All right, so the next item on our agenda tonight is a tobacco violation and notice of permit review hearing for Zane's Smoke Shop located at 611 North Main Street in East Longmeadow. To discuss the October 31st, 2023 cease and desist order for multiple violations of the state law entitled An Act to Modernize Tobacco Control. As well as the regulation of the East Longmeadow Board of Health, restricting the sale of tobacco products. So is anyone here from Zane's tonight?
If you are here from Zane's, can you raise your hand? There is no one here from Zane's.
Okay. Well, can I get a motion to open the hearing on the tobacco violation and notice of permit review?
I have a question or a point.
Yes.
Are we allowed to do this hearing without them present? We are. Okay.
Okay.
Then I motion to open for hearing.
All right. I can second that motion. And roll call vote, Christine Johnston, aye. Dr. Katie Jobbins?
Aye.
Rebecca Torsha?
Aye.
All right. So we are now going to have the hearing about the tobacco violation and permit review for Zane Smoke Shop. Just for anyone out there, my name is Christine Johnston. I'm the chair of the Board of Health, and we're going to have everybody on the call here introduce themselves. Going next to Dr. Jobbins.
I'm Dr. Katie Jobbins, and I am the vice chair of the Board of Health.
I'm Rebecca Torsha.
All right. Can our folks from the Town of East Longmeadow Health Department introduce themselves?
Amy Spencer, Director of Public Health.
Alex Roncrotti, Health Inspector. There's also someone in the chat raising their hand now, Tom Sains.
Okay. And I am Renee Sukow. I am the admin. There we go.
Great. All right, Renee, you're going to let them in?
Yep, I'm doing it right now.
Okay. We'll just wait a second. All right. Hello, Sarib. We just introduced ourselves and opened the hearing on the tobacco violation and permit review. And did some introductions, myself, Christine Johnston from the Board of Health, Dr. Katie Jobbins, and Rebecca Torsha from the Board of Health, as well as Tammy Spencer, Alex Roncardi, and Renee from the Health Department. At this point, everybody else, Donna, Lisa, Meredith, could you please introduce yourselves?
Donna Bowman, Pioneer Valley Tobacco Coalition, Tobacco Control Officer.
Meredith O'Leary, Pioneer Valley Tobacco Coalition, and I am the coordinator for the coalition.
And my name is Lisa Stevens Goodnight. I am with the Massachusetts Municipal Association. I'm the Tobacco Control Director to the program that is part of the Massachusetts Tobacco Cessation and Prevention Program. And I provide legal technical assistance to cities and towns in enforcing and drafting tobacco control regulations.
Donna, Meredith, Lisa, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And so Reeb, could you, I don't know if you have video capacity, but if you could unmute yourself and introduce yourself, that would be great. Is anyone there?
Renee, you might have to try to unmute for him.
Yep, I'm doing that. Okay, there we go.
Hello.
Hello, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hey, I'm Sarib from Zane Smoke Shop.
All right, Sarib, do we have your last name as well?
Nawaz.
All right. Renee, do you need him to spell that?
Nawaz, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yep.
Perfect.
Awesome. Sarib, thank you so much for joining us tonight. So the hearing before us tonight is about the number of violations from Zane's Smoke Shop, as well as the fines. So we have in front of us a number of violations of sale to minors, but also some other failures under the Board of Health's regulation restricting the sale of tobacco products. So the order is the October 31st, 2023 cease and desist order. So at this point, Donna, am I turning this over to you?
I don't believe so. I think that
Okay.
that's actually on the last.
You're the
time.
last.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. My list says turn the hearing over to the tobacco control inspector. So.
Okay.
I think in this case, because it was discovered by Alex.
Okay, then we'll turn it over to
Right? Is
Alex.
that how it started?
Yeah, it was.
All right, thank you, Alex, and thank you very much, everyone, for bearing with us.
So on October 16th, I arrived at Zane's to do a spot check to make sure that they were not selling during their suspension period, which had started a week prior. And when I arrived, they still had all the products on the shelves, and the manager said that they were selling because she was not aware of when the suspension was actually going to commence. She said that she was aware of the suspension, but just wasn't aware of when it actually began. So I asked her to remove all the products from the shelves when I was present, and they also had to be removed from the actual establishment themselves. So at that time, they were selling during their suspension period, had products inside of the store, and also they had blunt wraps on the shelves, which is also a violation of our local regulation. And so they removed all of them, but at the time they were there. So we ordered them a cease and desist order for operating while under a suspension.
All right, thanks, Alex. I appreciate that. And then this October cease and desist order followed two issues in June of 2022, one issue in June of 2023, one issue in August of 2023, and then another issue in September 2023. So a number of of issues, including sale to minors and selling during the suspension. All right. Does anyone, Donna, Lisa, what else do I need? I want to make sure we do this in the correct order.
So Christine,
Yes.
yeah,
Meredith.
yes, certainly. So you did a great job in outlining the timeline of events of the egregious violations and the current ones that Alex listed when she went to do her inspection during the suspension period. I think at this point you should ask for testimony from the co-owner of Zane's, as he's the one who appealed the cease and desist order.
All right. Thank you, Meredith. We appreciate
Sure.
it very much.
No problem.
So Sarib, at this point, we would invite you to share your testimony.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me here. So basically, just to clarify, we know that we got the violation and the order to remove everything off the shelves. We just didn't have a time, and I guess it wasn't communicated correctly, as to when it was supposed to be done, knowing that we were supposed to do it. So, after some time, we had our basically we had our employees working there. They knew not to sell anything, and we were waiting for somebody. I believe somebody must have been talking to Zane himself, but basically it wasn't clear to us as to when we should start, and when the beginning or the end was. But after I heard that Alex made an appearance in the store, she had told one of the workers basically about what's going on, and we got rid of it immediately. We don't really like to argue with anything. We'd rather just do what the law says and whatever we've been ordered. I believe it was more of a miscommunication issue.
The order was sent by regular mail and certified mail and was received prior to the suspension period, because we did receive the certified mail.
It was sent out, no date given as to when this was supposed to go in effect.
So on the letter that was sent out on September 27th, 2023, it states the suspension will commence at 12 a.m. on Sunday, October 8th, 2023, and end at 12 a.m. on Tuesday, November 7th, 2023. All tobacco products must be removed from the premises. It also says towards the bottom, that's in bold in the middle of the letter, which was signed for certified mail. It also says if a permit holder engages in the sale or distribution of tobacco products while their permit is suspended, they shall be subject to a suspension of all Board of Health issued permits for 30 consecutive days, business days. Multiple suspensions of a tobacco product sales permit shall not be served concurrently. So it says that on the letter that was signed for.
Yeah, so basically I think Zane must have reached out to someone and talked to someone. I don't know, I guess somebody from the town hall to negotiate it or to pick a certain date. But as far as I know, we were kind of just waiting for something. I guess he sent a letter out, or he might have reached out and nothing was replied back. But as far as we know, as soon as Alex supposedly made an appearance, we kind of just put everything away. And we're not really opposed to complying with that order. It's just, I guess it was unclear.
So Rob, I have a question. Do you have the name of the individual that Zane spoke with, or who the letter was sent to? Or because as far as we're aware, nothing was received on our end.
Excuse me?
There's no documentation in any of the briefs for this that has any letter from Zane or any communication with anyone from the Board of Health prior to this. So Who
Mhm.
did he try to reach out to?
I believe it was
Uh,
the day after Alex went in, he did come into the health department. And
But not prior to the suspension. Correct.
okay. Yeah, I'm also trying to understand when anyone reached out. I'm not sure if he tried to reach out to Alex or Donna before this. He may have been unsuccessful.
Tammy, it was spoken about at the last Board of Health meeting during the hearing when the suspension was gonna start too, correct? Was the date decided then?
I don't think it was, no.
No? Okay.
I may not have been at the last board of meeting. I'm kind of forgot, to be honest.
All right, thank you. And Tammy, if I am correct, there's a second issue is the fine from August 6th has not yet been paid, correct?
No, it hasn't. That was another letter that we've issued. We issued to the establishment. It was to pay the fine and to renew their license, because the license, which we did speak about this at the last hearing, the last day of September, they expire and they renew on October 1st.
Okay.
So yeah, that fine hadn't been paid, and the license has been, the application has been started, but because the fine hasn't been paid, collectors can't move it on to approve it. By both our local ordinance and by state law, it has to be paid.
Okay. So far as I understand then with Tammy, what you're saying is that we can't move that application further, the renewal application. Do you have a date when that application process was started?
I can check it out. Just give me 1 second.
Thank you, Renee. And then understanding that, sorry, I moved something around.
It was 30 days. It was more than 30 days after the renewal was required, and after 30 days, it's no longer considered a renewal, but a new application process.
Okay. So the applicant, from what I understand, the application for tobacco licenses in the town is open throughout the month of September, correct? And then those applications, if renewed successfully, and the renewal fee, I'm assuming there's a renewal fee paid, and then that application is granted beginning October 1st of any year.
The tobacco application was submitted on November 3rd.
Okay. So that would be considered, Tammy, and like what you just said, that it would be a new application, given that it was more than 30 days from the end of September. Okay. All right. Donna, Lisa, Meredith, anything else that we need to be considering at this point?
I just also want to point out that I didn't have that information, because that's also a violation, that they were selling tobacco and nicotine products without a local license. That's a requirement in your local Board of Health regulation, that you need that license to sell.
This is Lisa. I just wanted to quickly add that one of the points of the tobacco control program is to really is focused on making sure that these products do not get into the hands of youth. So a violation like an underage sale is a particular concern. Looking at a retailer. The other thing that, based at least on the information, it looks like there were a number of violations, and the kind of continuing failure to keep up with the paperwork is just it's something that a lot of towns look at in terms of like, is this somebody who is complying and actively engaging with the tobacco control that is necessary to keep this out of the hands of young people and make sure that they're selling products that are allowed in your town. So just would want to raise that issue. And again, that, you know, the regulations you guys have in place really show your town's commitment to effective tobacco control. And it's one of the things that we've done really successfully in Massachusetts, but it's kind of a continuing process. And so when instances like this arise, it's important to remember like kind of why you put those regulations in place and how important and how dangerous these products really are, especially to people who have not used them before. And like that is that entry point for young people. We really don't want young people getting addicted to tobacco. Thank you.
Thank you,
And-
Lisa.
Tammy had also sent over another violation from the FDA. While this is completely separate from our local and inspections done by the Pioneer Valley Tobacco Coalition, they did have a sale to a minor on August 21st, which was after the August 6th sale to a minor that occurred with Donna. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that sale to a minor.
May I add something else, Madam Chair, that I looked up on the FDA website, their violations as well. And in addition to, they had a suspension in 22, in 1722 for 90 days to not sell end products. And they had a warning on 9/15/22 where they seized untaxed products. So there is just a pattern in history with Zane's Smoke Shop that they have disregard for local, state, and federal regulations.
Thank you, Meredith. Alex, could you get the date? I'm sorry that I didn't write it down. The date that you just mentioned on the FDA.
Yep, it's August 21st.
So I'm looking back at my records, and that FDA suspension would have taken, or that FDA check with the violation would have taken place during a suspension that we have in our documentation based upon the July 25th public hearing where Zane's was under a suspension between August 17th and August 24th.
Was that was 2022?
No, 23.
23.
Okay.
So that
Okay.
so the date of the FDA would have indicated that the sale took place when they were supposed to be under a local ordinance suspension based upon the letter that was sent that we have a copy of dated July 28th. I found that one in my email. I just didn't find the other one. That makes sense, everyone?
Yep, that's correct.
All right, thank you. Thank you for checking the date on that again for me, Alex. Apparently it's not in the paperwork that I have. All right. Is there any additional testimony from either tobacco control or Sarib from Zane's at this point?
Well, that's definitely a lot. And I'm just trying to think that, you know, most recent one that's happened so far. I mean, honestly, we really do try to comply. Something always ends up going wrong. It's kind of position where I could even regret this business because we kind of started this business at like, you know, at a time where these regulations weren't in place. But you know, I totally understand all the regulations and compliance and everything. And to be honest, we have tried, but you know, we're finally at the point where we're basically putting this business on sale and just trying to move on from it. You know, so I guess you know, there's not much more to add other than the fact that, you know, every time we have tried to comply, something else goes wrong because, you know, it's very impossible to find work these days and employees and everything. And, you know, we can't really always be at our stores, which makes it, you know, extremely difficult because we started off working at this location 2018 and we've never really had any problems. But since we've been hiring people, that's where everything has been basically going downhill, especially with the laws and, you know, Massachusetts restrictions and basically making it impossible for small businesses to survive with all kinds of checks and everything. So, you know, we're just at kind of at the point where we're moving on from this and just trying to basically get rid of this. I'm not sure if you can take that into consideration of any sort, but that's basically at the point we are at right now.
Can you clarify,
Can you
please, what you mean
clarify,
by
please, what you mean by
getting rid of this? Does that mean you're
Oh,
not going to
like-
be reapplying for having a tobacco license?
What we're trying to do is we probably will reapply, but we're trying to I guess you can say like try just putting it on the market and trying to move on from there and see what we get about it. You know, and we were going to reach out eventually to somebody from the Board of Health about transferring permits and basically like the sale of the store and how it would work and everything. Just because it's almost not worth it to stay in business, especially when there's this many regulations and this many issues going on. And you know, we don't like to have like a bad reputation, especially with the town and everything. So we're kind of decided forward with just trying to sell it or even transfer it. But you know, we're going to reach out to the health department or anybody in town hall to basically try to like assist us in the process while we're finding a buyer.
All right, thank you for sharing with us. Rebecca, Katie, at this point, do you either of you have any questions, or would you like to close the hearing and move into discussion among the board members?
I think we should move into discussion. I think he's made it very clear what their thoughts are and what their future plans are. That's
Okay.
how
I motion that we close the session.
Okay, I second that.
All right, so roll call vote to close the hearing and move into discussion. Christine Johnston, aye. Dr. Katie Jobbins?
Aye.
And Rebecca Torsha?
Aye.
All right, at this point, Renee is going to have everyone muted other than the board members. And if any of us have a question specifically for anyone, we are permitted to do that. Basically the issue at hand here, and this is in the permit review hearing letter that was sent by Tammy on behalf of the Board of Health, says that for violations or repeated egregious violations of any section of this regulation as determined by the Board of Health within a 36-month period, the Board of Health shall hold a hearing, which is what we're doing tonight, in accordance with this regulation, and after such hearing may permanently revoke a tobacco product sales permit. So that, I guess, is the issue at hand tonight that we can be deciding upon. We do not have to decide upon it, but we have the option to decide upon that.
Mm-hmm.
I think hearing everything, not only with the expertise of our, obviously, tobacco experts on the call and the number of violations and the fact that there's an FDA violation in addition during the time when there was supposed to be no tobacco sales happening, I'm very concerned that this is a behavior that's not safe for the public in the town of East Longmeadow, especially children, and knowing that there's been multiple tobacco products at the middle school recently confiscated. I'm very concerned that this behavior is not going to change, especially because we are not hearing of a lot of other organizations in town having issues complying. So I'm very concerned that this is not a behavior that is going to change.
Yeah, I agree. It's a pattern. If it was going to change, it would have changed prior to this. And there's been multiple offenses. You know, not saying if you're going to get away with something, you're going to continue that. And I think we've heard the same type of excuses or reasons behind it. But it's a pattern.
And then obviously the issue being that there is no active permit right now. And that the process wasn't even done in time, which is not the case with the other businesses holding a permit to sell tobacco in town. Right.
And that was when he was discussing the idea of trying to sell their permit. They don't have a permit to sell. So there is no active permission to sell tobacco products currently. So.
And just as a reminder, what is currently written into the ordinance that this board passed is that if this permit is revoked or not renewed, it actually is permanently removed from circulation in the town of East Long Meadow. Tammy, I'm going to ask, I have that correct, right?
Retire it, yes.
Yes. So that is in the ordinance that was passed by the Board of Health. So if we choose to revoke the permit or revoke the ability to reapply for that permit, it would be retired from the town, meaning there'd be one less place in town that would be legally able to sell tobacco products.
I think if that's the case, the motion would have to state probably that whole thing.
Okay. All right. Ladies.
I don't have anything else to add.
Okay. Do you have any questions for anyone?
Not for me.
I don't.
Okay. Is anybody interested in making a motion at this point tonight?
I'm happy to make a motion.
Okay.
And I need help crafting it. So, because I had it in my head, but then Tammy just said something. So I need to motion that we are both going to vote on not allowing for, or we are voting on whether or not we think the license should be allowed to be reapplied for, or a suspension should go. Can you please kind of clarify what you were talking about, Tammy? Just I want to make sure I understand.
If you're going to vote to not allow the permit to be renewed, I would say also to add that we're retiring that.
Okay. All right. Thank you for clarifying. I just didn't know. I wanted to make sure I understood what you were saying in terms of based off of our previous regulations. Okay. Then I make a motion. We vote on not allowing renewal of the license for Zane's Smoke Shop, and that we retire the tobacco license thereafter upon that decision.
All right. I will second that motion. And I guess at this point, we do a roll call vote on the motion at hand, which is to not renew the license to sell tobacco products for Zane Smoke Shop, and to permanently retire that license pursuant to the ordinances within the town of East Long Meadow. So we'll do a roll call vote. Christine Johnston, aye. Dr. Katie Jobbins.
Aye.
Rebecca Torsha.
Aye.
All right. That motion has passed. Thank you, ladies, very much. Alex, thank you very much for your testimony. Donna, thank you for joining us tonight. Lisa, thank you for your assistance. Meredith, thank you for your clarifications. And Sarib, thank you for joining us tonight. This information, I'm sure, will be sent out. Tammy, is that correct?
Yeah. I also want to bring up, there's a second issue, and Alex did highlight it in the letter, is that because of these additional violations, all Board of Health permits are subject to a 30-day suspension. So Zane's also has, besides the tobacco, they have a food service. So that would apply to their food service permit as well, to which we will set a date. We could, if we want to set a date now, to begin the 30-day suspension.
I would suggest we give them through the weekend and set the date for November 20th.
Okay.
So that way there's no question about when the data start, and they can communicate with you if they have any questions prior to that in 2 business days as well.
Thank you, Katie. That makes a lot of sense. And Tammy, I'm assuming the health department will send all of this in certified letter to Zane Smoke Shop, both on the tobacco permit as well as the food service license.
Yes.
All right. And if for some reason that can't get out in time to be signed for the 20th, please let us know and we can address that timeline. Katie, does that work with you? Okay. All right. Okay. So at this point, Renee, I think everybody involved in the tobacco hearing is free to go. And we will move into the next item on the agenda, which is business at hand. So Tammy, I will turn this over to you at this point.
And we have a really let's see, a real hard vote to make right now. So as you know, we sell through our recycling program, we sell compost bins and we sell rain barrels. And we sell them right now for $25 a piece, which is pretty low considering how much we actually pay for them. Let's see, so currently the compost bin, which comes with a little pail, we sell it for $25. The cost for it, which costs us $53, and its suggested retail is at $65. And Liz, our recycling coordinator, suggests we raise that to $40. And the rain barrel is also it is also being sold currently for $25, and the cost to us right now is $64, but they retail for $109. And these were purchased sort of pre-plastic going up. So the next time we do make an order for this, they'll be significantly larger. And so Liz is suggesting $60 for the rain barrel. So that would be $40 for the compost bin and pail and $60 for the rain barrel. But we're up to other options if you guys would like to suggest any. And then that would just be a vote to suggest new fee to the town council for approval in the bylaws.
Is it?
Oops.
The only question I was going to have is right now they're the same price. Is it more work to have them two different prices?
How do you feel, Renee? Because you're the one who takes in.
Two different prices. I got this. I should be fine. I'm not worried about it.
The only reason I ask is because I want to make the people who have to deal with this on your end, your lives as easy as possible, while also appreciating that Liz's recommendation is keeping the cost down for members of the community who are interested in purchasing a compost container or a rain barrel through the town. So recognizing they're still being sold at a discount.
Or we could suggest, I think Alex suggested a nice one the other day, which was 45 for both might kind of even them out.
Katie, Rebecca, any thoughts?
I think that's great.
Yeah,
I don't have
it was one way or another, sure.
Yeah.
You know, that makes sense too.
Okay. Then I'll make the motion on this one to recommend to the town council the change in new fee for the sale of compost containers and rain barrels at 40 for the compost container and 60 for the rain barrel.
Okay, I'll second that.
All right. In a roll call vote, Christine Johnston, aye. Dr. Katie Jobbins.
Aye.
Rebecca Torsha.
Aye.
That's a much easier vote.
And I believe Long Meadow sells their rain barrels for $80 something. So we're still passing on the bargain to the residents.
We're still going to hear that the price went up.
Yeah.
Well, it won't go up until it's approved into the bylaw. So
fair.
Okay.
Okay.
that's the end of the decision making period tonight. I asked Liz for her trash and recycling program updates. One was really I thought was really exciting, and if anybody was on Facebook and they got to see the photographs of this last week at Mountain View, they celebrated Waste-Free Lunch Day, and with the help of the kitchen staff, the custodian, the principal, the lunchroom was almost entirely waste-free. Mountain View started using reusable silverware this year, and they only offer straws when they're asked. And basically, it was less than a bag of trash that day for lunch, which is really neat. Let's see. Yeah, there was trash was 1 pound for 300 students. And we're also working with the fire department, in conjunction with the fire department, to do a lithium battery recycling event on December 2nd. More information to come. That'll be at the fire department. There has been quite a few calls to the fire department and from Casella of people putting lithium batteries in the trash, and they basically start to smoke and they start a fire. So that's why the fire department was kind of interested in teaming up and doing that. You can bring them to the transfer station. I think some people don't realize that that's the ability there, but this way would be a free event and we'd be able to get rid of lithium batteries. We also, we had a Fix-It clinic scheduled for this week, but everybody's kind of coming down with a lot of cold. So we are postponing it to December 8th. And I believe we're actually, instead of having it at the senior center, we're going to have it in the library in the one of the conference rooms there. So that information will be posted to the website and Facebook page. So that is trash. Any questions, discussion, comments? Good. The town health nurse update. We had a few applicants apply, and we will be finishing interviews. Erin Kobler and I, the Council on Aging Director, tomorrow. So hopefully we'll be able to announce that we have a town health nurse next week, which would be fantastic. And we've come up with some, through the interviews, I feel like we've come up with even more ideas for ways that person can kind of be an effective force for public health good in the community. Any questions about that? Okay, let's see. And other business. Tomorrow at the library, from 1 to 5, there will be a COVID and flu vaccine clinic. Big Y will be back. If anybody wants to go, you're welcome to walk in, but if you don't want to do a single bit of paperwork, you can now have all of that done on the Big Y's website, which is, the links are up on the Facebook page. If not, just bring your insurance card.
Any question about that? And I only asked this because Big Y just recently did our clinics at the college. Do you have to have insurance for the COVID vaccine?
I believe you do not, because there's that bridge that they have right now. If you don't have insurance and you get the flu, the health department will cover it. We do have it as a item in our budget, but not the COVID. But because there's the bridge, you for the underinsured, it will be covered.
I just wanted to make sure because we had to have insurance proof when we were there. So just if folks do have insurance, bring your card with you unless you do it ahead of time online. But yeah, talk to your health department staff if you have any questions about that.
And I'm pleased to announce that we have a new supply of COVID test kits at the health department. So come down to Town Hall, 8 to 4, Monday through Friday, pick one up. If you think you need one and you might have symptoms, we've never shied away from running into the parking lot and, throwing it in the back window or whatnot. Or we'd try to find a way to help you get a test kit.
And it's RSV season, so if you're over the age of 60, you should get an RSV vaccine, which is available also, or pregnant. And pregnant people can get it now too. So,
if you have any other information you'd like to impart, we would love to hear. We were just talking about how we're like, well, maybe we'll have some good updates from Katie.
So the good news is there was an uptick of COVID that we were seeing, which is now downtrending, which is really great news, which means people are practicing really great public health policies with, if you are sick, stay home and test, hand hygiene. The interesting thing that I'm seeing more of, unfortunately, is strep throat, just because, it's that time of year and obviously the stomach bugs and things like that. So, but I think everyone's doing a great job and we are seeing it downtrending again, which is great news. Obviously, I'm more worried about flu and RSV starting to pick up now, but it would be great if we don't have all three going up at the same time, which for me is, I think, a win. Just thinking about my pediatric colleagues at the hospital and how much they faced last year with all three being a threat for our children and our family. So yeah, it's good news. But obviously we are seeing this is the beginning of when we start to see people with flu. So just being aware that getting your flu shot now is really of the utmost importance because it takes about a week to 2 weeks for your full immunity once you get the vaccine to kick in.
Katie, are you seeing hand, foot, and mouth?
I don't in the adult population. There may be in the pediatric population. As someone who got it when their kid had it, it is the worst thing ever. But it is also that, daycare age children, unfortunately, when an outbreak happens, it's very common that it goes through all the families and all the people around there. But I do think the same thing is really about if you have hand, foot, and mouth, stay home, wash your hands a lot. And the same goes for any viral anthems, when you have an illness that's unknown COVID and it's not the flu. But it's probably because, are you seeing a lot of it at the college? Yeah.
There is a lot. And I'm just thinking with young adults maybe traveling in the next week that we are seeing, and we are not the only ones. It's across the region. So much hand, foot, and mouth among the young adult population. So just putting that out there for folks who may have young adults coming home or traveling to their house. If they are not feeling well, have them stay home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also strep, so much strep. Yeah. Tammy, anything else?
The only other thing I was just giving an update on is that right now we're kind of working on the last couple permits that we're trying to digitize and put on OpenGov. And it's almost been a year since we started. And so food service will renew for February, and we're working on trying to learn how to do the renewal campaign. And there's a couple other departments that are also going to be doing it at the same time. So we're sort of like teaming up together to figure out how to do that, because it's all sort of digital and through email and everything like that. So that's kind of been keeping us busy trying to figure out the back end of that. And we did rely on our town planner had a lot of expertise in it, but he has left as of November 1st. So we're kind of trying to figure out things a lot on our own and through the graces of the help support at the OpenGov platform. So, it's going.
Well, we are grateful for your work on that throughout the town, especially tonight. We were able to ask, when was this permit application started, which really is very helpful in situations like we just faced. So thank you for all
Absolutely. And we donated clothes to the competition against Long Meadow. My husband dropped off, I think, like 8 bags. So,
oh yeah, there's a second date, so we won't get the final numbers until the second date. I think it's this. No, it's
December.
Yeah, it's December 2nd.
So we'll bring more. Don't worry.
Okay, good. Yeah. We'll find out if we are the winners or not.
Yes, textile recycling.
Let's see. Anything else we can think of? Any last things, ladies?
No, and just thank you all for all the hard work you're doing. We're really grateful for all you do. It makes our jobs a lot easier. So thank you.
Yes.
We're very glad to have your expertise and your valuable opinions on this stuff.
And we welcome Alex back.
Yes.
So welcome back, Alex.
So picking a date for next month is our next item.
That looks like next month obviously is going to get a little tight. If we elect, we want to have a meeting it is only November 15th. If we want to have one in December, then I would suggest we do it probably by mid-December.
Yeah. Do we
My
want to
schedule's
do,
pretty open, so I'm gonna turf it to y'all.
is the 20th too late in the month, or do you want to do it before that? Just thinking, because Wednesdays seem to be a good night for us.
The 20th isn't good for me.
Okay, that's fine. Tuesday
Maybe-
night is harder for me because my son now does drum lessons, so
What about
which is
the
the
Friday,
13th.
Wednesday, the 13th?
I have a meeting that goes until 6, but I can make sure I am off in time to be on here for 6.
We could keep that, and then I will compile anything that is pressing or whatnot, and then if you guys think it looks like it needs to be discussed, we can keep it. If not, move it to January.
That works
Sure.
great.
That works.
Perfect.
Like
Better
That's
to
a
great
put it
idea.
on I'd say it's always better to put it on the calendar and then take it off
Cancel it. Yep,
than
I
trying
agree.
to, oh, we need to have a meeting and we're trying to fit that in.
Yeah,
I
no, I
think
think
that
that's a great plan.
I think that one of the things we can work on is now that we've sort of tested the different parts of the regulation from last year, I think there's some things that could probably be tweaked a little bit that we could kind of
Yeah.
review. I think I've looked at it and see it in a different light. Some of the mays and shalls and whatnot. So that could be something that is the winter project, I guess.
Okay, that works good.
That's great.
Perfect.
All right. Unless anyone has anything else, we need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I motion to adjourn.
I second.
All right. And roll call vote, Christine Johnston, aye. Dr. Katie Dobbins,
Aye.
Rebecca Torsha.
Aye.
All right, the Board of Health meeting tonight is adjourned. Thank you all very, very much. Enjoy your evening. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes,
Thank
happy
you.
Thanksgiving, everyone. Take care.
Take care.